Oh, goodness. Sorry, guys. Our mic has been off this whole time. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Sorry about that.
So Rolene is on and Russ is also on.
Yep.
Okay, Russ, are you calling in from the hospital having a baby right now? Is that why you're not here?
No, I was just sick today.
Oh, too tired and about to have a baby. You can't be sick. All right. Is that it for online?
Mhm.
Great. So I'm not even gonna ask, did you read the minutes? I'm going to assume everybody read the minutes. So this is the time to ask, did anybody have any concerns, questions, or comments about the minutes from last meeting? All right, the minutes are approved. Ella, you want to do the financial report?
Yep, our current balance from our $5,000 DNRC allocation is $753.63. Got Apple Day booth reserved, had to buy a new charging cord for the Owl and get some storage for Google Drive. So sitting pretty much the same as last time, but about $100.
Hey,
For the funding team report, CODG is still gonna be announced in the fall. Fingers crossed for September. Yeah. Who knows? Just still gonna wait on it. It is becoming a little bit more important now for forestry, for fuels mitigation projects, because there were some funding issues where with the DNRC and partners, where some of those forest action plan. Oh, Mike is online now. The forest action plan doesn't currently have any funding for the next year, so new projects can't be signed on. So CWDG will be pretty critical for some fuels mitigation down here. So Josh and everyone's got their fingers crossed. There's side of the funding team report. There is electric power change grant. Mike, I think your mic is on. And we're getting some sound.
who is? Mike joined us.
Oh, no, he's not there. Great. Valley Electric Co-op has a power of change grant that's due on September 19th. That would be a source of potential funding that we'll be discussing later in the meeting, potentially applying for.
Is there a limit? What can people apply for?
There's not a limit, but it does seem to be like a general award between 1,000 and 5,000 seems to be the standard. I was snooping on the photos of the award checks to different organizations, and that seemed to be the general range. For outreach team, we were busy. So we did, we had some folks from prevention go to the Stevensville Creamery picnic. I ended up being sick, didn't go. So thank you to Amanda and Caitlin for doing that. Judy was at Victor Day, and gave out some information there. We then did the Darby Rodeo for 2 nights and did a like Forest Service Firing the Root combination mega booth and gave out some good information, home assessments, smoky spinner wheel, all sorts of fun stuff. And the National Fire Prevention Education Team was there too to help out, and they did a great job. And then we had the Valley County Fair this past weekend. Got lots of home assessment signups. We made a lot of great contact with folks. And we had almost all of our volunteer slots filled, with the exception of 2. So great job, everybody that went. And yeah, our season of booths is almost over. We do have Apple Day though coming up on October 4th next month. So if you're interested in helping out at the booth, please let me know.
What sense did you say you have a number?
I counted before I got here, I think it was 16. Mhm. And then a lot of folks that said they're gonna sign up, potentially sign up later. So we usually see a couple trickle in after the fact.
Yeah, I talked to quite a few that actually just didn't want to sign up that day, but they said, yeah, I want to do this, but can I get a card or something and do it later?
Yeah, and
They do follow up on those.
they do, and I'm really pleasantly surprised because last year Sherritt was fully rolling. It was super hot, dry, windy, and everyone was pretty on edge about fire, and we were pushing home assessments hard. And this year it was rainy. There hasn't been, a big fire that everyone's worried about, and we weren't as nearly as pushy. Because we just weren't. And we still got lots of signups. So it was pretty cool. People were still engaged.
Well, part of the reason we couldn't be as pushy is we were doing 3 different things with 2 people. And Ella had made this Legos house that attracts children and adults too. So it's like a story of what could be wrong with this house that makes it vulnerable to fire, and they get super engaged. So whoever's talking to that person can't talk to anybody else. And so it seemed like it was easier to ask people if they wanted to sign up for a free air purifier. That would get their attention. And then while they're writing, then we talk about a free home
We would
assessment.
sort of capture them as they were like trying to write tiny and they'd be like, oh, this pen. You're like, oh, let me go slowly find one. And Judy can tell you more about the home assessment process. But yeah,
And Betsy worked with me one shift and she was awesome. She got right into that spiel on the house.
Straight out there. Well, you didn't think you had the best placement this year either, did you?
It's the same place
same place. I think last year the bad placement was Apple Day. Apple Day was rough. I requested a new spot on the main street, so we'll see what happens.
I mean, if you're in the backwater, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and we were,
Only lost people will show up.
no, that's honestly what happened last year.
And it did help us at the fair that the Forest Service had all the junky stuff they were giving away, so we didn't have to bother with that.
Easy now.
Slack.
They were giving out, yeah, there was,
They had the smoky wheel, which was,
I thought it was like a really good progression. It was like
Mhm.
having kids,
Yeah.
having folks with some
Yeah.
pretty, interactive stuff.
Yeah.
Over our booth, okay, so this is like our local vacation. And
Yeah.
well, it did make it kind of like a destination. Like there was a Smoky blow up behind us. Smoky'd come out. We had the bag toss. We had a bunch of different booths. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a good crew.
When Smoky Bear showed up at the Victor Days, people went nuts.
Mhm.
They love Smoky.
I got my picture taken with him.
Mhm.
It's an icon.
But yeah, so fair was
And
successful. a lot of
Amanda
fun.
really did a lot in the mornings to get us prepped and take it down.
Amanda was a rock star at the
Yeah.
rodeo and the fair.
And Russ probably was too, but I wasn't there probably when he was. So.
Yeah, I'm sure Russ did a good job. I mean, who could really know though?
It was mostly Amanda.
In other news, we are still planning on doing our purifier giveaway event in Lolo. From the grant I got from Fire Adapted Learning Network. It's kind of a DNRC county health collaboration. And I'll also be doing a talk and be giving out some fire in the root stuff too.
So it's a kind of awareness about health effects of wildfires.
So it's basically we'll do a smoke talk and just a whole general kind of fire preparedness talk. And we're gonna be giving out about 40 HEPA air purifiers at it. And we're gonna do it in Lolo to get some folks from Florence, from Lolo, and kind of that edge effect from Missoula. Lolo Community Center.
And it's just for that, or it's part of larger? It's just for the.
It's just
That's
from
the one
the,
that's by the ball fields, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just from the grant that we applied for and got. So we're gonna be doing that the week of September 14th. We keep pushing it back because the org to charge hasn't been generated yet. So now we have an org to charge for the grant. So we're gonna start working on it and start marketing. Winix does do bulk purchasing for nonprofits for their models, so we'll get a good discount on it. And just give out a bunch of purifiers. And if we don't have enough attendance and we don't give out all of them, we'll just give them out
So
to,
like first come, first serve or something like that.
yeah, everyone who comes in the door will get a ticket for one. And then they get to collect it after the talks. So they do have to listen to all the information first. But we'll have it on like a weekday night, weekday evening, provide refreshments and snacks and some drinks and things.
Most impressive.
Must be present to take your purifier home. And then we will have a larger unit too, that if more than 40 people show up, we'll raffle one off. So even if they don't get one, they still have a chance of getting one. So yeah, we'll start marketing that here soon.
So that will be, if it's on a weeknight, school's back in, what's the best night to?
We were thinking like a Thursday evening. It seems like Mondays and Tuesdays are always filled with like meetings and,
Placeholder in for 11, 12 September, which of course is too soon,
too
math,
soon.
but the same principle applies.
Yeah, so we were thinking about doing that, but a week later, so we've got a little more time. We've also pushed it back because Olivia's been transitioning to a new job during this, and we co-applied for the grant. So giving her a little bit more time to get her stuff oriented before we all jump into this project.
So how are you thinking about promoting it?
We're gonna do social media, put up physical flyers in the area. We're thinking about doing a print ad, but since it's kind of like a weird transition area between kind of Ravalli and Missoula, we're trying to figure out what.
Could you get the
Platforms, put it
school,
on.
the new school in Lower to send out something or put it in there? The families would, I
Mhm.
think, maybe be more interested, I don't know.
Yeah, I think, Carrie Mule, who's with the Missoula County Health
Oh,
Department,
she's got it.
has an in with the school, so she'll be putting that in there.
And maybe somebody can pick up a news release.
Yeah, we were gonna do news releases as well. We were thinking about seeing too if any local radio stations wanted to do like a PSA as well. And then do sponsored advertising on Facebook, Instagram, Nextdoor, and Reddit. So, and then also put it on like Lolo community, events page, Missoula events page, and then all the Ravalli events
They have
pages as well.
You send
They have a what?
a reader board
Mhm.
on the, what, is it electronic or mechanical? But either way, it's right there on the highway side of the parking lot, so you can see it going north or south. And, that'd be good to have that there.
Mhm.
So are you going to also have a table with the DIY air filter thing to engage kids?
Yeah, we initially were thinking about doing half, about a third of the giveaway being DIY kits, but then no one's gonna come to take home a box fan. People are gonna want an actual purifier unit, so we're gonna get the 40 of the $100 Winix purifiers for a pretty steep discount. And then just provide some of the DIY box fans as displays, not as giveaways.
Mhm.
Well, even if you just have a flyer that shows somebody how to do it, that's like.
Yeah, we got lots
They're
of
really
those.
pathetically easy to make.
They are quite easy, but people do get the side wrong. Um. So yeah, it's honestly been pushed back so many times that this week is actually the week to dive into it, just since it's been so busy. So I'm excited to jump into it and actually get this event underway. So I'll keep you guys updated.
When people are done getting finished with summer stuff, so good timing.
Yeah, it's been a little nuts. In the same vein, actually, of outreach team report, this isn't something we've chatted about in our outreach team, but it's actually something that maybe it was Amanda that mentioned it at the fair booth, but considering a how to pile burn class in the fall. And seeing if that's something that we could be the facilitators
We were
of.
talking about that at one point.
Yeah, Alexandra's, or she's very interested.
Yeah,
Previous meetings, workshops you guys have done. There's a great interest there, especially.
yeah. So something to kind of float out there is as a project for this fall. When
Especially
burning
because we've
season
had a
opens.
number of pile burns get out of control.
Yeah,
And we've had some of our neighbors have that problem, and it's like,
This fall or?
this season.
It is our #1 being cause start.
Sure.
Burn zone. I know the DNRC, the Fair Fire Council, they're wanting to do more of that. Just like is kind of an issue right now. So,
Like the one we did at Victor Fire. a couple
Yeah, we
years
have
ago.
a recording of Dr. Peter Kolb's presentation on. It was safe, fire burning too, but I
And
think
low emission.
we called it low smoke. Burning or something.
He just showed part of his presentation and then had a practical outside where it's how to do the burn.
yeah, because his is mostly how to pilot
Yeah.
for efficient burning. But I think what most people are concerned about is where to put it.
Yeah.
How to pilot, when,
What if
how
it's-
long should you let it dry out and like, what should I have with me? And what should I do to prepare? How long do I have to watch it? And the actual full mechanics of how to do the full process. Just to demystify it and then have a videographer film that class. And then have that as a how-to video we can have online
Okay.
of the full kind of scale of how to burn debris.
But try and get the people there who just do it a lot. I mean, the occasional people can watch the video, but we have a lot of neighbors who are always burning. They can. It's just like, some of them have got it figured out and some of them not.
Problem is, the ones who don't have it figured out are also not interested in being told how to.
They aren't, but there are a lot of folks that don't burn, are scared of burning, and it is what is keeping them back from reducing fuels on their property.
That's a
Right.
good point.
I've been meeting a lot of folks that are snowbirds, or they just moved here and they did not grow up with burning their debris. And they are just too scared to do it and they don't want to do the work because they don't want to have to burn. And
Yeah,
during the
that's a real
assessments,
need.
I end up going around the property, pointing at different places that would be safe for them to make burn piles. And referring them to resources on how to learn because they are pretty nervous about it. So having a class, I think there would be a pretty big market for it. And now that we're a nonprofit, we could do a class and charge for it and compensate like a fire department or something who wanted to help host it.
Well,
Also
maybe
throw
your
that out
whole
there.
campaign is, maybe you haven't done this before. It's really important to help mitigate your fire risk. You can learn how to do it
And do it safely,
and do it safely and do it cleanly and.
and maybe even have some, after the whole program where we give a presentation, maybe have some print resource that in the future. We
Yeah.
can just hand them with QR codes to go to videos, but have a lot of information on one sheet.
That's just a good idea for a handout too.
Yeah.
That
And
would-
if we have it. Volunteer department or fire district to host it.
Mhm.
A lot of them provide assistance for people burning anyway, most of them.
Yeah.
do. So,
Do they?
yeah,
Mhm.
Florence, Victor, Darby,
We have a neighbor who's like the poster child for that. They always start burning weeds and stuff and. The fire department came so many times that now they just say, call us when you're gonna do it and we'll just station a truck down there.
yeah, and
It's bad.
Florence has a book to schedule it. And there's always 10 or 20
Huh.
in the
I'm
spring.
not sure Hamilton does that.
I don't think Hamilton does.
No,
wait.
but Darby does,
For girls.
Stula
I
does.
don't think Corvallis does either. Florence does, for sure, Victor does.
Yes.
What's that?
I know the Forest Service does not.
No, nor.
Yeah, well, maybe
So that's in the planning stages.
maybe we revisit it during the outreach team meeting. And
Kind of flesh out.
flesh it out. Roylene, do you have any thoughts on that as another representative of fire department?
I think it's a great idea, but like, Ken was saying, we already go on all of those as it is, so we help lots of people burn, so I don't know. I can't be there the 25th, but I think fleshing it out be really, really good. I think we just need to do something. I think it's a good idea.
Cool, thanks, Roylene. Well, great. I think that about wraps up the outreach team report. If we got time at the end of this meeting too, we can keep chatting about it. Next meeting is September 25th at 10 a.m. Bitter National Forest Conference Room that Russ reserves for us. So for the assessment team report, we completed 9 in August. We've got 20 on the books. Might be over the course of September and October. We're just gonna see how many DNRC folks in the Bureau are interested in coming down and viewing them. Because last year what happened is they ended up scheduling them out across September and October, and then we got more and more requests. And I spent the entirety of September, October, November doing assessments. So thinking about trying to knock more of them out in September because it seems like they're more effective while the risk is still there. And when we do them really early spring or late fall, people do lose the urgency and don't seem nearly as gung ho. And they also seem a lot more apt to canceling them. So I'm gonna try not to string anybody out too far this year and try to get them all done while it's still hot, while there's still lots of green vegetation and while all the risk is still fresh. But the season total with this new influx of assessments is 68. So we are only 7 away from our total of last year. So I think we can get there, gang.
And we actually heard from quite a few people at the fair when we asked them if they would like to do a home assessment. Already did it. I mean,
Mhm.
quite a few said that. And then I would
Yeah.
ask, so how was that? Were you overwhelmed with a list of suggestions that you could work on? Well, yeah, it was pretty overwhelming, but we got started. So it's encouraging to hear that people are actually
Some of them
appreciating.
were 3 or 4 years ago,
Mhm.
they say they're almost done,
Mhm.
you know, but it's taken a while to work through it.
Right.
Yeah, I saw a lot of familiar faces at the fair. It was pretty fun. And then there was one gal that came over and that I did the assessment for in June. And she like beelined up to the table and I thought she was gonna yell at me. And then cause she was like, I got an assessment from you earlier this year. Do you remember me? Yeah. Oh, man, I really don't want to get yelled at right now. And then she was like, I did everything you said in the first 72 hours after the assessment. And I was like, what?
We don't have.
And
any
she
brownie cakes.
had a handyman that got together a big group of his
She
friends
sounds like a testimonial,
and
waiting to happen.
they just did all the work. She just handed them the recommendations I gave them and they did all of it. They like redid her mailbox to make it more visible. They cut down a ton of trees. They put rock in. They just did the whole list.
Do you remember?
Like
her
screen all of
name?
her events.
But you think you could figure it out going back over your?
I could figure out a lineup, but I don't know
you
if I could
ask
go.
her, you know, just say,
Lawrence?
if
I
you
don't
remember
think
where it
so.
was, you can go backwards, but, I mean, she sounds like she's enthusiastic, and I would
Mhm.
just say, you know, you could do a great service to your neighbors if you would share this, that
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't terrible. It was painless and it wasn't that difficult to do the things. I did it quickly, but you could do it over time. And
Yeah,
I mean, those people are invaluable when you've got a public like we've got.
Yeah, and maybe even get some press on it, do a story.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, well, you can get him some business, you know?
yeah.
Say, can we give your name out?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Cards and stuff, seriously.
Yeah. And
yeah. No, I think that the testimonial idea is a really good one. And maybe going back through the past year or so of assessments and reaching out to some folks and asking if they'd be willing
We'd be
to,
happy to do it.
Yeah.
You did us, what, 2-3 years ago?
well, I think it was last year.
So last year?
Yeah.
didn't you say June?
Hmm?
Didn't you say June?
Yeah, this lady was this June.
Yeah.
We were last year or the year before.
Yeah,
Well,
But-
3 years ago, once came up and said, we finally got the last thing done. We put in 6 feet of concrete around the house.
nice.
And we keep the fuel down with a blower. And I thought, well, that's
One
commitment.
way to do it.
Yeah, and you're like, I just want you to remember, I didn't tell you to do that.
No,
We didn't
Just
ask
at
you
5
to
feet.
live in a bunker.
Yeah.
They took it, but they had a whole bunch of things that they took one step further
Hmm.
and made them super low maintenance. Now, that was their low maintenance right around the house.
Yeah, I mean, easy to keep clean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it takes, yeah.
One of the
takes
couples that signed up, we were talking to them and the gal said, yeah, 2 years ago, I went on the secret garden tour and I went to this lady's house up on Canyon Creek Road. And I saw her garden and everything, but then she had me walk around her deck and she talked to me about fire stuff. And she said, I'll never forget. She said, watch out for having your welcome mat out because if sparks get on your welcome mat and it's the kind that's really combustible, it can burn your whole house down. And she said, I've told everybody to watch out for that for the last 2 years.
and I just can't remember who that beautiful woman was.
And I said, that was me. I guess I made an impression on you. I didn't mean to scare you to death, but it's good that she's sharing something.
They would need
Yeah.
at least to sell, fire safe door nets.
Whatever that might be.
Well,
Certainly isn't the quar type.
yeah, those are, yeah, like heat.
Those kind of rubber mat ones are good.
Mhm.
And
They're like AstroTurf kind of.
well, yeah, they're more textured than that, but they're more rubber than that. They work pretty well for the dogs too.
Mhm.
The heavy rubber ones.
Yeah, they are fairly heavy, you know, but they're regular welcome mat size and
Yeah.
some of them even say welcome. But
There
they're textured, you know, raised texture and then just plain rubber.
Yeah,
But they're tough, they clean up.
Mhm. Yeah, and they won't,
What's that? Don't ignite these. They do not.
Those would be
Like a
kind of fun
tire.
giveaways in some of
Like
our
a
events
tire.
too, because
Probably are.
you start at your front door and have a welcome mat that isn't gonna light your house on fire.
no, that would be fun.
You could play with that.
I'll talk to David Evans about that because he's so good about supporting community.
You could sell a lot of welcome mats.
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah, and we dealt with him about air purifiers. He helped us out with those too.
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. There's also, I just did a mock-up of it because I don't have any internet here. But, Kimberly has put together a survey that we can send out to folks post-assessment. So thinking about 3 or 4 months after they get an assessment, I feel like longer, they're gonna lose the
Forget what that means.
they're gonna forget what it means. They're not gonna be as likely to respond. They're not gonna remember the name of the person who did the assessment. So, about 3 or 4 months after, send them this via email of the person that did the assessment, so at least it's familiar. Won't go in their spam
I
folder.
think that might be too long.
Too long.
I don't know about my brain, but 3 months later, I couldn't even remember if I had it done or not. I mean, I think maybe 3 or 4 weeks might make, I mean, most people's lives are so busy,
Mhm.
but that's long enough that they would have processed it to the extent they're gonna process it probably. I don't know, 3 months is a long time.
I think the only issue I have with doing it in a shorter period of time is that they're not gonna have done a lot of the things yet, because a lot of them do take like budgeting. So tree removal, redoing the deck.
But they at least say they're planning on it, you know, that
Mhm.
they're working on it, because some of those things, tasks are multi-step too. I don't know, I just think chances of remembering like who the person was who came are not as good.
On the other hand, if it were me and somebody called me within a month after making suggestions, I would think, really? You're gonna bug me already? I might be offended if it was too early.
Maybe 6 to 8 weeks after. Give them a little breathing room to get it done, and then specify in this question of what work have you done since the home assessment?
Yeah, part of it depends.
You
on
can
how you frame
say-
the question, if you're saying, are you considering doing some of this? They will have made that decision.
So for the survey,
Or is it likely you
Yeah.
will be taking steps in the next year?
so for the survey that's up there, I know it's really hard to read. The first question is like, who completed your assessment? And then it's what is your zip code? Because we're not, it's gonna be anonymous, but we'll be able to see locationally then generally where people are responding from. What month was your assessment provided? What year? What work was recommended that you do to reduce wildfire risk on your home and property? Select all that apply. And then it's basically everything that we would recommend. And they can select as many as they want of what was recommended to them. And then what work have you done to reduce your wildfire risk since the assessment
I mean,
or
are
plan?
you-
Or plan?
Yeah, maybe have 2 columns there, plan to do and you have to complete it or something.
Mhm. And then they'll be able to select it, just so we can see what people are doing. If they said, if we suggested they screen their vents and they didn't, that is a fairly cheap and easy one to do. So if they haven't, and if we see that as a pattern over time, or if we see that certain things just aren't followed, it's interesting data to see. And then for the recommended work that you haven't done, what are the 2 biggest barriers that have prevented you from conducting the work to date? So physical difficulty, cost, time, lack of information on how to do it, lack of information on options, don't want to change the property, the lack of effectiveness of the risk reduction actions, restrictions on changes to property, lack of awareness of wildfire risk. And then, do you have any other feedback on the assessment you received? And then it's optional, they can attach photos.
And then somewhere in the narrative in the beginning, are you saying something like, we're asking these questions to determine if we need to make changes in the way we're providing a service, so they
I
know
have-
it's
That's what you're
helpful.
asking.
Thank you for requesting a home assessment, taking the time for it to have it completed. Please provide the following information about your assessment to help us improve this free service for landowners in Montana. And then in the actual email that you'll send out to each person containing the link to the survey, it'll be more personalized. So you can actually have a body of the email, because it's not just gonna be a link with no background. And then there we can explain that we want to make this better. We want to make this as effective as possible.
We want to know what's working and what might not be working.
Mhm. And then also, I think in the email, iterate that we also want some data about how these assessments are currently working, because we want to provide to more people. And this information is really helpful for writing grants, and for getting funding in the future for our nonprofit. Everyone I've asked so far if they'd be willing to fill out a follow-up survey in a couple months has said, yeah, totally. I don't fill out any other surveys, but I'll fill out one from you. So that's been a
You're
good,
so charming.
because that's good. So hopefully they do that. But just want to see if this is even something people will fill out, because it would be cool to get some information, not just in the county, but if we could send it out statewide to other folks that are doing assessments.
Do you get feedback when you're out doing assessments that people are going, I'm really glad I'm taking these steps? But I have neighbors on 3 sides who are like waiting to burn, and I mean, and what could be done, if anything, about that? Because, they'll say, well, I'm doing everything I can, but I've got 3 neighbors who are just gonna blow up.
Yeah, all the time.
Almost all of them.
And I say, when you're done reading your packet of information I gave you,
Pass it along.
pass it along to your neighbor, tell them that they can also get a home risk assessment for free. But at the end of the day, other than that, you can't do much at all. If they're burning debris in the summer, you can report them, but other than that, you can't do a whole lot.
But it does seem like a lot of people have bad neighbors.
I was talking I did an assessment today in Pinesdale and they were saying that their neighbor has been burning piles all summer long.
We can see them from our place.
Yeah.
Also, there are a lot of people who are living up in the forest who are shooting up rockets on and around 4th of July. We had neighbors who set a number of their ponderosa pines on fire a couple of years ago. So it's like, and if they burn, it's gonna come right to us, so
Mhm.
it's just kind of scary.
It is discouraging when we don't have good answers for people. I had a lady at the fair that said, so what do I do about my neighbor that shoots rockets whenever he feels like it? And we've called the sheriff and the sheriff says he's allowed to do whatever he wants on his own property.
What about when his rockets land in your trees?
You gotta wait for that to happen before they'll come. That's what they understood.
Frustrating.
It is.
Yeah,
It's stupid.
no, and it's hard too because it's like an age-old problem of complaining about your neighbors. But it's not just that their house is fuchsia, it's that,
I don't care what color they're.
You know?
To burn mine down.
yeah,
Right.
no, I mean, it is, though, it's that people are always gonna complain about their neighbors, but since this is a safety issue, it's hard to be like,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day,
It's
their own
gonna take
property.
social norming and social pressure to change it.
Mhm.
I mean, that's why it's so great that you're getting so many assessments done. There's a bigger and bigger group of educated people. They'll start talking and then the people who continue to say no and be stupid will be a smaller group.
And we're getting a lot of 5th graders educated. And they're all over the fairgrounds and they come to her little house and they have all the answers already because they've heard it in school.
I did see a lot of the 5th graders.
Yeah, they can just rattle the answer.
It was so
One
fun.
after another.
Well, cause I'd see him and I'd be like, yeah, I know you. I remember your little face.
Yeah.
And they all came up and they'd bring all their friends and be like, I know all the answers.
Smart, they're never supposed to know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
It's
something
cool.
like their, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And they do look at it with a much more complex view than their parents usually do.
Well, with kids, it's simple. There's nothing other than we don't want forest burn,
Mhm.
there's nothing else, no other barrier. So,
But the best little kid was not even close to being a 5th grader and he had a lot of answers. And he decided that one of the biggest problems on this Lego house was the little fence that was right next to the porch. And so we would ask, so what would you do about this? And he goes, well, if I can't tear it down, I would cover it in aluminum foil.
It was pretty cute.
and there you have it.
well,
There you
you have
have
a
it.
solution.
Mm-hmm.
Future engineer.
Yeah. I totally shot it down though right away. Not feasible.
Funny.
Well, we'll continue to keep chugging along here, but with this survey, I'm gonna implement a couple of these changes and I wanna send it out to everybody and have everyone look through it through the eyes of a landowner. One other question I was considering putting in there is, would you be willing to have an assessment sign? Or willing to have a sign that said,
Ooh.
I did an assessment or give a testimony about your process or something? Just some way to get the sign for specific people. Cause in the moment, I could see people saying no, if we asked for a sign
We hang one up.
minutes after I finished giving an assessment.
I think for the survey.
It could be part of the survey.
You put
I
one,
was just thinking about it while we were talking about neighbors.
And then we would just have them. write it down.
Yeah, if they wanted it, they could give their name and contact info, and if they didn't,
Remain on-
they didn't have to. But we've been talking about these signs and putting them up at fire departments potentially. And we have these signs that are they're made to be put up at a property that has had a risk assessment to market to the neighbors. Is that something we want to continue
I
to
was just
pursue?
looking at the sign when I came in the driveway today
Mhm.
from town, and the big words say wildfire risk assessment. But when you're driving by, you wouldn't know what that means. Does it mean she had one of those? What is that? Instead of asking a question, I wonder if there's a question in it, would people maybe notice it more? Oh, Albert can't get
I
it.
look at what other places have done. I mean, I'm sure we're not the originators of that idea.
Mhm.
Look and see what other people have done. And try and find some wording that's been used already successfully.
Yeah, because something with a question mark at the end, we're curious people. And
Ask me about my
Mhm.
wildfire risk assessment.
To be continued at the next outreach meeting. We do need to move on.
No,
hi, Albert.
How long were you out there?
well, just 10.
It says 45 minutes. That's
It says 45 minutes. I'm gonna be real dumb.
For those on Zoom, Albert just came in. He had to knock on the window to get let in.
Josh is also online. I forgot to announce it when he
Oh,
joined.
welcome, Josh.
Judy, take it away for the bylaws team report.
Okay, now that we are a 501c3, we're in the process of getting a board of directors, and we're in the process of applying for grants. What if we get a grant and we get money? We need a bank account. So we need to figure out what people have as suggestions for where to do that. The only bank I have any experience with is Trail West, because I've been with them for the whole 32 years I've been in the valley. So I went online and looked at, you have to have at least $100 to open an account. Well, we don't have $100 yet. But when we
And
do,
DNRC can't like
they can't
take
give us.
cash out of the ATM to put in their bank account. Cause all of our money is currently like my operational fund.
So we have to wait till we get a grant check to them.
Right, but we can do our homework now and make decisions about where we want to have an account and get it all ready to go.
Who gives nonprofits the best deal? And local maybe would be better.
Mhm.
Valley County, just credit union just got a best of rating.
Yeah, well, Farmer State Bank is the one we use for the Lawrence Fire Association, not the district. The district, we share an account with every other county agency. But for the association, we use Farmer State Bank, and they're really good about changing signature cards almost every year, because the trustees, at least one trustee turns over every couple of years at least. So,
Well, right now, the hospital auxiliary has an account with Farmer State, and it's taking them forever to get our signature cards right.
Hmm.
So I don't know, maybe some branches are better than others.
I mean, that's probably something that's very local. you
Yeah,
know, that they're really good. Quick turnaround for.
We use Farmer State Bank in Victor too, for the association. And that's who I have all my personal accounts with. I also use the Valley County Credit Union too, so that's another option.
Anybody else have a recommendation? Those, we have Farmer State, Trail West, and Ravalli County Credit Union.
Ravalli County Bank's another one right there in Hamilton. Shonkwallers have always been really good too.
It's now called Trail West.
Okay.
Anybody else?
That's three, that's enough to
Yeah, I think,
I mean,
go in and talk to them.
First Security is in Hamilton and a
I,
few other places, but they're a lot bigger bank. And
Yeah.
They're not as local.
right. Okay, well, why don't I check out these three, get their fee schedules and all that kind of thing, and then we'll bring it to people for a decision.
Hmm.
Next time around. I don't think we'll get money before next meeting, but we can always do this by email if we do.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
think they,
need that for our financial report to finish off our 501c3.
We're done with our 501c3. We didn't have to do a financial report because we had no money.
Well, good,
So
good.
that was easy.
Yeah,
very easy.
so we just need a bank account for when we do have money.
Right. Okay,
That's a good problem to have.
okay, and then we've talked about this application with all these questions we've talked about before to get some people to be on our board. And Kimberly, you said last time that you would be able to look into getting some unbiased people to look at our applications. Do you have any new reports on that?
I sent out the invitation, I was gonna put up here to see how many folks I sent it out to. But the deadline of September the 15th to get back to me. And then starting like to maybe possibly review like again, given the timeline, like October, maybe finishing up in November, but you know, like as things progress. So from that, let's see.
Did you send that out to everyone who attended the meetings?
I did not. I chose people completely from the outside. I mean, there's
This
a
is
few-
the unbiased.
Unbiased selection.
Oh, okay, got it.
There's a
Okay.
few,
For a panel.
individuals that I did include in that. Steve Brown was one of them that we're familiar with. Trying to think, there's a couple, but I thought, given their position and what they do in the county, they might just be able to chime in on what you all need with the mission. But let's see, how many it's sent. So I sent to 46 individuals.
Wow.
So hopefully they will respond and we will have, like I said, I asked them to do a little, not a long bio, I asked them to do a max of a 3-sentence bio of who they are, their self-biography, so that you all can look at that, all compile all of that, get that over to you hopefully by the next meeting, so you can choose who you want to be on that committee.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you, Kimberly. That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't expect you to find that many people.
Yeah, so then once at the next meeting, if we can pick,
Fair enough. Positive, responsive.
Well, and it was people that are like MCFN, I think. I think that's the abbreviation, but
MC.
yeah, Montana, or maybe it's MFCN. There, yeah, and so like I reached out to multiple collaboratives that aren't just like us. For some of their members, because I have to have this, and so reached out to them because they would understand our mission. They would understand what we're after and, you know, really requesting that they really choose somebody that is familiar with this, not just random individuals, so.
Right. Awesome.
with that, if ideally by the next meeting, if we can pick some of those folks out, when do we see the time being to send out the application and have folks applying for the board?
I think given you have the invitation out to your selection committee, you get that application out, so we have plenty of time for folks to put it in there, and then pretty firm deadline of what that looks like.
I mean, it depends partially on the complexity of the application too.
Mhm.
If it's just a few pages, then people can do it probably pretty quickly. If it's 10 pages and a lot of detail.
Well, remember the questions, I think we had 10 and we narrowed it down to 9. We took one out altogether.
Yeah. And our next meeting is October 7th. So 9
Council.
questions, next council meeting.
Ahead of time, but have it on the agenda for October 7th, and then start the process October 8th.
Mhm.
And we should finalize the number we're talking about, because we went back and forth between 7 and 5 and 5 and 3. Quite a bit last time,
Although I
so
heard
we should
people
know that.
leaning towards the larger number for a lot of things.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I heard too, but I didn't hear a decision
No,
to that effect.
No,
should we have a consensus or a vote or something on that? That's a pretty significant decision.
well, I don't know if we're ready because we don't have as many, there's a lot of people missing that might wanna.
Would it be too much to also vote on that next meeting?
No, not at
To
all.
to do a vote, to officially like,
Just
Ring the
make sure
bell
you
in the
deliver
process.
that to everybody.
and then we also have, it is a reason for, the October meeting to be more well attended. Hopefully. It'll be nice and calm. Hmm? Yeah, I think voting on the number of directors. The next meeting makes more sense than coming to an informal consensus with,
So maybe we'll have like
Low
3
attendance.
options.
Yeah, with flesh out those options with a potential slate of ex officio members. You know, because if we're limited to 3, that's gonna be a different group than if we have 7. I mean, 5. And we've talked about at least 5.
Yeah, I
Today's
think 5
meeting.
was a minimum.
Yeah, which means that we're at 7 and 5. You know,
It's
Because-
eliminate 3.
yeah, pretty much eliminate 3, because you gotta have DNRC, gotta have Forsyth, gotta have bidder at RC&D. Talked about the county fire warden last time, and we gotta have the Valley County Emergency Services, because they've been a key partner all the way, and so there you're at 5.
And Josh,
our scene.
Plus you want.
Well, that's the
but
NRC.
better
That's
more
what the
involved in
NRC
this, a good thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. but
I'm
those
sorry.
are Partners that have been in, except for the county fire warden, which is important in and of itself, but has not been a previous partner.
right, because our expectation is whoever is going to be a director must attend meetings by
Well,
Zoom or in person.
and the new county fire warden is more likely to engage than previous.
Probably fair.
Yeah. Because 0 engagement is not a high bar.
Yeah.
So,
Delicately put.
Brutal. Um,
so, but there's 5. So
mhm.
that really puts us at 7 and 5 or more than 7 and 5. But not less.
Right. Yeah, I think last time the discussion seemed to end up at, you've got to have at least 5 voting members.
But that gives us 3 ex officio. So if we stick with the ratios that we've talked about. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that, but that's the way that we've been talking about it. And 7 voting members gives you more diversity
Mhm.
and, which is also a good thing.
Well, it just means that there's not 2 heads butting and 1 decision maker in the middle. If it's,
But also
2v2.
more stakeholders, that's gonna pull more weight.
yeah,
Also, something to consider, we could have 3 alternates. That would encourage the other 3 as alternates to participate in all the meetings. In case somebody gets hurt or somebody moves away, then they have an alternate ready to step in. I served on the board some years ago, and that was something we felt was important, and it really worked out well. Something to think about.
And the terms for some of these will be really short. Because if you follow the approach that the Montana Code Annotated uses for fire boards and other things, they start with, if it's a 5-person board and you draw lots, and it's a three-year term, you draw lots, and somebody only has 1-year term, some of them have 2 and some of them have 3. So it starts a rotation right away.
Okay. And we'll be finalizing our application based on what we've already talked about in those questions.
So for the vote next month, I think 7 and 5 is a obvious option. Do we feel like there should be another option or two to be voted upon? Or do we want to vote yes or no on 7 and 5?
Well, if we have another option, more people, not less.
Yeah,
Right, but can we get more people? I mean, we have to look at who's
So
actually,
all of a sudden, we're at 9 and 7, if we stay with the same kind of ratios. And
does
there's
the ratio really matter?
Well, you just want an odd number.
Yes,
one odd number of voting
Right.
members. Not necessarily.
Yeah, ex officio doesn't matter because they're not voting.
Not voting.
Yeah.
The last meeting, you guys.
Get those ratios. Because those came from you, Richie.
So it's just kind of like standard for board operation, just to have that ratio so that you have, again, that discussion and again, looking at your ex officios. And so it's really nice to have that piece and it's just the kind of the standard of what boards utilize.
So our, if we kept with that, we'd be at 7 and 5 and 9 and 7. Is that like kind of a standard? So those would be, that'd be the choice. 9 would be a lot to
and it would be a lot
come up with.
to recruit.
But when you think about all the money that's gonna be coming in grants and how the business and the activities of this group is gonna grow a lot next year, it makes sense.
Mhm.
I only see 6 people that would be voting members as a possibility on our current list.
Money can cheap too.
I think if we choose between 5 and 7 to start with, would be sufficient.
Yes,
Because we can, we can add more members if we realize that we don't have enough people to do the job.
right.
And we could do 5 and 5 and 7 and 5.
Yeah.
And depart from the norm a little bit to accommodate our,
But you're still offering that piece to.
we need that,
That voting.
we really need that number of ex officios to represent our.
Yeah, and you can really, I mean, with that ex officio, I mean, they're just serving the board as advisors.
Yeah.
Right.
And the thing that's nice about that is that, I mean, maybe they all come to your meeting, but they're not necessarily tied in, whereas like your board, that number is really specific because you have to, like, at some point in your bylaws, you're gonna have to have
A quorum.
a quorum to be able to conduct business, and that would be the only caveat about going bigger, is then you're gonna have to have a board that comes to consensus. And sometimes the bigger and bigger you get, the more different ideas you get, and then you can be here for 10 hours instead of just your one that you hope for.
Diversity is good to a
Yes.
point.
Yes,
So we could do 5 and 5 and 7 and 5. And not bump up to 9 right away.
Yeah, well, then when you expand it as the scope of work expands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't wrap my head around why the ratio is important. We just need an odd number of voting members, and then we need sufficient number of advisors, whatever that odd number is. Whatever the ratio is,
Right.
and on your advisors, it doesn't have to be an odd number. You
Yeah.
can have
right?
two, I mean,
Right.
obviously, you can have as many.
So I'm not worried. I can't figure out why to get worried about what the ratio is.
just that that's the way we've discussed it in the past. That doesn't mean that we're committed to sticking with what we've discussed in the past. If we have a reason not to. And it sounds like we do.
Excellent. Well, we will vote on this then next meeting.
So I understand, are we, as far as this selection committee, we're voting on who to have on the selection committee to review the application, or?
I don't know that we're necessarily going to vote. We're talking about voting on the number of people we want on the board. And then we're going to discuss when she comes back with the people that responded who were unbiased people. I guess we'll have a discussion about how we feel about that group, and I think we decided last month it would be a good idea to have an unbiased group review these and bring us their recommendations.
Yeah, they're not gonna be board members or anything.
No.
Temporary advisors.
It's kind of unclear, are we voting on them, or just having them?
No, I think Kimberly's gonna bring us a list of names and we're gonna talk about.
Okay.
Yeah, as the council. I
Mhm.
mean, that was the plan, to bring it forward to everybody.
If you
And
get
then
on
have those
46,
Yeah, we, I
if you get 46.
I highly doubt.
Have a different discussion than if you get 12.
Yeah.
Yes,
Even 12 would be enough.
yes.
Yeah.
Should we vote on if we should do 10 or 12?
Please,
Okay,
no.
moving along.
You'd be even more.
All right, to be continued. Please track your hours. If you haven't, look at the link in the newsletter or scan this bad boy up there. All those hours count for future grant applications.
So do you want to talk about the Power of Change grant?
Yes.
Before we go there, I'll just throw this out too, like, we could certainly send it out to the membership. You know, depending on what that number is, and then just have like the membership rank their top 4. And then whoever comes in with those highest numbers, that's who you put into that selection committee.
Oh, once you get your responses back,
Mhm.
yeah, and the pre-sentence bios, yeah, well, that'd be good.
Cause I can even put, I mean, I think Vulture's is sophisticated enough, I could even put like their little bio in there, and folks, you know, that may not have missed the meeting or whatever, and didn't read the newsletter, if you posted in that, but then they could go through and I can limit it to, you can rank the, you know, your top 3 people to sit on this committee, and it'll filter it, and just press a button, and then I'll know who your top ranking ones are, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So maybe prior to next meeting, then you could send us an email with those people and their bios, so we can do our
Deadline September the 15th.
Oh, yeah, so we could-
yeah. No, let's just put that link in the newsletter, ask people to vote, and if we don't get some of the responses we want, then they just have to vote in the meeting if they're here. And whoever is in the meeting and hasn't done the survey yet, they can just do the meeting and the survey and we can pick that way. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you for doing that.
You bet.
That'd be wonderful. Awesome. So for this grant, it is due September 19th. It's a fairly simple application, but it does need to, the ask is for a specific project or a specific purchase. So we've got a lot of things it could go towards, but I don't want to just pick it myself and move forward. The ask seems to be between about 1,000 and 5,000. We are the kind of organization they give it to. They typically give it to lots of the fire departments and other small local nonprofits that have a specific project in mind, like buying radios or purchasing a scoreboard for the school or building a little welcome atrium at like the food bank, things like that. So, are there any projects that you guys are interested in pursuing as a council in the next couple months that this would go towards?
You have an example here of neighborhood collaboration outreach campaign. Can you?
Yeah, so we've discussed in the past about trying to do outreach for neighbors, for neighborhoods, whether it's putting like sticky notes on outside of people's mailboxes saying my neighborhood's, you know, working on their fire risk. Do you want to join the group chat? Or putting out signs outside of people's homes or fire departments, doing mailers, doing social media advertising, just like some sort of campaign for neighborhood collaboration. That's just an option
If we
that,
get this, we have to expend the money in just a couple of months.
there's no,
Oh,
I
okay, I
want-
was
I
gonna
can
say,
see.
some of these need some running room.
oh yeah. But just something that over probably the fall and winter, we would want to pursue and do. Even if it's something we actually implement maybe in the spring, we'd wanna use the money in. Raylene, are you on? You,
I'm on. They like to have, I don't even know how to say it, hard objects. Your tool cache for volunteers is an awesome idea on there. The supplies for the school visits. Those are the types of things they like to see. They like, I've got grants to do from them to do the Guardian Angel lights for every volunteer fireman. We have a Guardian Angel light. They funded that project. They funded the Porta Tank project for Victor Fire. They funded our Porta pumps for Victor Fire for wildland fire protection. They
So, like,
funded radios for another one. They like hard objects. They don't do anything like, I plan on doing a collaboration outreach campaign. They won't fund that. I'll tell you that right now. They
Good to
want
know.
hard items.
all right, so tangibles.
Yeah,
What kind of stuff can we buy?
so
Tangible,
There's
things that you're
fire-
gonna purchase.
they're just like the Elks Foundation and the Town Pump Foundation and all, they're all like that stuff, material things.
Man, we just don't need that much
And we talked
stuff.
about-
The welcome mat idea is a good one.
Yeah.
The nice thing about this one, guys, the really nice thing is they give you the check to be put toward those items. They plan on you buying those items with your check, but they don't put a timeline on it.
Do they ask for any
No.
kind of report afterwards?
No, they haven't for me. But then I've always I always just send them a thank you note and they know in due time. I just purchased the Porta Tank. In fact, it just got delivered last week. And they gave us the grant for the Porta Tank, last year. So,
So you could use it for signs for people who've had their audits, you know, because that's both promotion and recognition.
Mm-hmm.
right.
And get a nicer sign that's gonna hold up for a while too. I mean, those are not cheap. We buy signs for our ranger, they're expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that's gonna last more than a season or two.
Yeah, I think the signs is another thing that's an awesome idea on there. The supplies for school visits. You know, you could purchase, instead of using your DNRC funds, use this to do it with.
Yeah, the unfortunate part about the school visits is that they really don't need much stuff. We need Lego houses and a couple signs. We could just buy things to give out to them. But for the school visits as they stand are pretty low cost.
Unless you give each classroom a DIY, you do a DIY presentation and you leave the DIY purifier with them. But you're
Yeah.
really teaching them not about
We're
necessarily.
teaching them like fire regime and home preparedness.
Right.
There's really not a smoke component to it.
There's a Lego.
There's a Lego component, but not a smoke
That's why they
component.
know those things.
Mm-hmm. Man, they love it. They love it. They hate the worksheet, but they love the Legos.
Exactly.
So the tool cache for volunteers, what would that be?
Well,
So-
we talked about a
Mhm.
trailer eventually with, mostly hand tools, not power tools, but
Mhm.
potentially power tools if we could get the right,
liability.
And the right instruction and the right, all of those.
That seems like a longer term project to get all that worked out.
Yeah.
Maybe-
Yeah.
I think the next grant cycle, that would be,
But do keep it simple this time.
Yeah,
I like the
that-
signs at fire stations this time. That would be something simple. That's something that you can do. It's something we need for the offices, and it's something that's got a tangible cost to it.
yeah.
What would the sign say? All harvest? Your lot.
Well, we put the pre-home assessment, signs at
With a
both-
QR code.
with the QR code at both the fire stations in Florence. And I think that Victor has one, and then there's one in front of the Forest Service office, not that. But other fire stations could have a good home risk assessment sign that's more durable than the cardboard
Well,
ones.
says it awesome. You could maybe have them at schools or other public buildings.
yeah, I was thinking too, like Forest Service offices, like any kind of,
So are we talking two different signs? Like there's like a permanent signs at the fire station?
so we were discussing, I think at the last outreach meeting, maybe the meeting before that too, about making slightly more durable informational signs that we could have at like every fire station. So it's easier to maintain and place them without having to reach out to like private property owners and convince them to put a sign up. But they are located at lots of different points throughout the
And they're-
valley that people are gonna see.
Yeah,
And we can
community
invest in
centers,
higher quality
senior centers,
signs.
Sure.
And then also just kind of brings a little more, it brings the fire departments into it a little more.
Libraries.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's easy. We can get them printed and we can take our time on the design too. And then take our time
But I
making
think
sure
again,
everyone's on
something that's
board.
gonna last 5 or 10 years, you know, it makes.
Yeah, I'm thinking, do you know that like the ones that Alex made that are kind of the harder plastic ones? They look really nice. Yeah. Yeah, she had these small ones, maybe we could make a larger plastic sign that's like durable, weather resistant, and has information, but is visible.
And we could make them last longer by bringing them in during winter so they don't get all that sun and snow for months and months.
Yeah. I can get a quote from my
You're so
sign hookup, and see what cost might be.
Yeah, just count the number of fire stations, because it's not the same as the number of fire districts.
Mhm.
And agency offices and libraries, wherever else,
Community centers.
community centers.
Mhm.
And
I think libraries might be less inclined to leave a sign.
They do
Permanently.
lots of public postings though.
Yeah, I know,
post office,
we're all, the libraries and I are on pretty good terms. I think they put a sign up for me.
Who?
The libraries,
Darby?
yeah,
Really?
Stacy and I email every
Are
couple
you?
weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, I won her
You
over.
broke through.
I did. But yeah, I think we just get as many signs as we can and we just,
You wanna order extra because everyone's gonna want one. See,
yeah, they're gonna be very, very trendy. Yeah,
In spite of the longevity of them, you're gonna lose some.
so we're gonna, the project application is gonna be for a cache of durable informational
Exactly.
signs that we can put.
I mean, a
Freaking
simple,
everywhere.
a sign even that isn't that big, it's only one color or something, you're talking minimum of $50 a pop, so. I mean, if you're gonna have to have 20 or 30 of them, which you probably are. I mean,
More.
yeah, I mean,
So you're at 1,000.
yeah, minimum.
5,000.
And that's just if you want it to be more attractive, you might have some graphics on it or 2 or 3 colors and whatever, so, that's gonna cost more, so I think we're in the range.
Mhm.
You go for $2,000 or $3,000 for that.
Yeah.
Thinking possibly, we're coming into wood burning season. Good rate still allows people to burn firewood. What about like a card that could be handed out when people go get firewood permit from the Forest Service? A 10-point safety check for burning wood at home or something like that. Or do they have, is there something like that available through the Forest Service or through the fire stations? Like a 8-point or 10-point safety check for burning wood in your home.
Try to get to like chimney, care and maintenance, things like that.
Yeah.
That's more. It's more required.
Yeah, because you're getting into private property stuff. That's not really Forest
And
Service.
it's focused on taking it from the right spot and I'll do the next. Part this was that. Actually, not focused on burning on it. Not currently, but if we get that distributed by the fire districts, even though they don't have that one-to-one relationship with a wood permit, they do still have people coming in for other stuff.
Yeah.
And that's more their purview anyway, for fire safety, fire prevention month, which is October.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, that too, just with the handout, can also encompass like air quality, safety inside of the home.
Yeah, once we have that, we have a whole bunch of things that we do all the time, like the
Mhm.
evacuation checklist, all those things can be distributed. They're all fire safety, even though they're not home fire prevention.
Yeah, but even just for the wood stove burning is having an air purifier in the same room as the wood stove.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On a wood stove safety handout, would be nice, as well as the disclaimer. In the summertime, move your wood pile away from your house. You don't need it there anymore. Cool. Well, I will start drafting some stuff up for this grant, and I'll probably send out a sort of grant summary to the outreach team, just for some input before it's actually submitted. So look out for that email, and then you guys can put in your comments, questions, concerns about both the project wording, finances, and just general goals and writing, before that gets submitted.
so you're thinking of signs and the tool cache, are those the two you're gonna flesh out?
Just the signs,
Just the
Tool
signs,
cache.
just the signs, tool
Okay.
cache could be, definitely be a next year thing though.
okay, good.
That needs more thought.
We need to find the volunteers first.
And
but-
get all the liability and the storage
Yeah, it's a
issues.
bigger lift.
Yeah,
Well, and storage trailer is not cheap.
No,
no, not at all. Might be a couple grants cobbled together for that one, but that's a problem for another day.
Do you know how much the Forest Service trailer costs?
plenty. Yeah.
They're expensive.
That's like $5,000 wrap, that's about $19,000.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah, it's nice trailers.
Big great trailer.
Dollars.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we would
A
need
lot Smaller one.
to make sure we could use it enough before we spend that kind of money.
Mhm.
And we don't have volunteers yet,
Right, yeah, we don't need a tool cache for the volunteers, we don't have it.
right? Okay, so we've got 10 minutes left for open discussion. Do we have any topics that we've talked about in the past you didn't think we talked about enough? You want to rehash?
Any go backs?
Next meeting location, are we gonna?
TBD,
Discussion.
Roylene, do you think we could return to Victor Fire for the next meeting?
Sure. Yep, if you need to, if you want to. I won't be there, but we'll make sure you've got the code to the building, you can get in.
Perfect. That would be lovely. Thank you very much.
Yep.
I think these folks have been very kind to let us use the space, but it does mean that
And
the,
no animal tonight.
no animal because Tucker wasn't here, but they do have to stay
Oh.
late and
Okay.
keep it all unlocked for us and then lock up after we all get
We
here.
need to do something nice. too.
Yeah,
Maybe,
we should all adopt a dog.
or
Adventure day.
a less of a commitment than that is bringing more
I got with a
food.
bag of dog food to bring, but I climbed out of the slot and climbed in my truck and ran here. So I didn't know. what to do.
Yeah, maybe we should coordinate some sort of
Food drive.
food
Food drive for
some
it.
sort of donation
Yeah.
from Fire in the Root. Yeah.
Any new topics you want to broach? Or are you just ready to get out of here?
Or a, let's call it a subcommittee for like a volunteer program. When would that make sense for folks to start meeting and figuring out this problem of who is gonna do the work for these folks that can't do it for themselves? How are we gonna recruit volunteers? How are we gonna organize it and structure it,
Insure it.
ensure it? DNRC has, yeah, like the easy stuff around a house, moving firewood piles, limbing trees, raking pine needles, things for like the 90-year-old senior who lives alone that can't even do the basic stuff.
I always like to steal good ideas from other people who've already figured out the answers. So I would kind of go, whoever thinks we could find some best practices, you know? Other folks who put together a program like this and cherry pick all the good stuff to build one here that we know will work.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm
Rather
asking
than
is,
trying to reinvent the wheel.
when do we think people would be ready to like start working on that and looking for people? Cause I just can't do it all by myself this winter. I do need like a little crew, let's say, to figure out this crew.
You needs multiple brains to put their
Need
in.
brains. And I think it's something that would be a complex enough problem that should probably just have its own working group. So whether or not you want to be in that working group, when do we feel like that working group should start for this problem? It seems like a fall problem, a fall and winter problem.
Have it,
Maybe like January.
January.
All right.
And I want to
know.
volunteer Josh. Hello,
Come in.
Josh.
All right,
Come
Josh is
in.
in.
All three,
Yep.
got some experience volunteer.
Perfect. I think Jeff was the one who actually suggested we put together like a working group for it. So yeah, I think come December, I'll be revisiting this and asking for who wants to be part of this working group.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, do some research on these volunteer mitigation crews or just crews that do this work. DNRC has pretty much volunteered to cover liability. They've drafted liability for homeowner and for worker and have seemed to be very amenable to providing workers' compensation if a volunteer got injured. So that is cool because they've modeled it off their Fish and
That's the biggest
Wildlife.
problem, probably.
Yeah,
Other than-
volunteers in the past. So they seem pretty interested in sponsoring this as a program. So that will make things a little bit easier.
And that.
Ella? I texted you a quick note. Stick AmeriCorps volunteers in the back of your mind. I'm not sure if that's something we could pursue without pay or not.
Maybe
But that might be an area to think about.
I talked to AmeriCorps person and then also had a couple meetings with the Job Corps partnership coordinator right when I started. But it was just way too early in me working here to like be able to go down the road that she was talking about. But I think it's definitely something we're gonna revisit with our working group.
Kimberly had a comment.
If the group, when you all meet, as opposed to youth participants, our 4-H program, that is one of their big pieces that they contribute to community service. And so you would have like, it would be clubs that could maybe sign up on that list and they could do, like, they could move wood, they could move slash. We really, and our liability would cover them. But like, I mean, as far as like heavy equipment, things like that, they couldn't do that, but I. think
Yeah.
Still a citizenship badge.
And they do still, well, not really a badge, but also if you wanted to reach out to your Boy Scouts and your Girl Scouts, they also have that piece, that component. But 4-H,
Mhm.
we also have a teen leadership group that is older youth, that is all teens, and they have to do the service project. That is part of their caveat.
Mhm.
And then the other group that I was thinking of is the FFA.
Yeah, I got a big list of all these folks in a big spreadsheet. And we just need people to start calling and actually start like reaching out to all these people. So come January,
Yeah,
I think that's what we're doing.
There's a way that we could, present to more nonprofits in the area. I know Sort Optus, they're a nonprofit organization, they could bring getting some my projects that have previously been involved with off the ground. Get more folks kind of affiliated with Fire in the Room and hopefully spur some more of that.
Do they look for like breakfast and lunch programs, speakers and stuff or not?
Yeah, they'll post like seminar series.
Ooh.
So, walk off like an hour or two and be able to present, I don't know, I'll present on any given topic of your choosing, whether it's pile burning, firewood, smoke mitigation, no hardening. So,
And maybe service clubs, I mean, their whole issue is service. And they're doing other things already, but those who, maybe they're doing so much that they've got everything covered and they're looking for new ideas. Some of those folks might be interested.
this might be something to bring up after the board of directors has been appointed, but, maybe like extending like a nonprofit collaboration specific meeting. And like inviting all of those nonprofits to one of the Fire and Emergency council meetings, so there's. Yes, what creative collaboration might be able to create.
did you not like that, Roylene?
Somebody was yawning.
Somebody harumphed.
Well, it's 8:29.
Oh, it is 8:29. All right. Any other very pressing quick comments?
All right, I think we will be dismissed.
All right, location Victor Fire, unless something crazy happens, knock on real wood.
Be Victor Fire. We'll put you on and I'll get you all the way through the rest of the year too.
You are a doll. Thank you, Roylene.
Yep, you got it.
As always, if you have any new agenda items, anything you want to talk about during the next meeting, please let me know. But yeah, have a good month, everybody.
Thank you. And thank you. for
Bye,
driving-
Zoomers. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for driving down to meet with us.
I'm sorry.